There's a purpose behind your restlessness, a reason why you've sent out countless job applications, attended meetings with a facade of happiness, and returned home feeling unfulfilled. It's not due to laziness. It's not because you're wandering aimlessly. It's because, deep within, you sense that this isn't your true path. You've been hesitant to voice this truth. But allow me to express it for you. Jesus never intended for you to merely pursue work. He called you to embrace your purpose. The reason your spirit resists the conventional path is that it was never meant for you. You're not meant to play it safe. You're here to make waves and create change. If you felt out of sync, it's because you are. Not because you lack a place, but because you're being summoned to rise higher. Jesus said, "Do not seek work." And once you grasp this truth, your perspective will transform forever. They will urge you to work harder, to apply for jobs, to refine your resume, and to join the relentless race. But what if I revealed to you that this race was never intended for you? The chosen ones were never meant to chase after fleeting goals. You were destined to create. You were meant to receive abundance. You were not brought here to plead with the system for a place at the table. You were meant to construct your own table, one that others will eventually gather around. Jesus did not enter offices distributing resumes. He did not ascend social ladders or mingle with the elite. He spoke, and mountains shifted. He walked, and the sick were restored. He rested, and yet the work was accomplished. So why do you find yourself believing that the only way to exist is by toiling for a system that was never designed with you in mind? The reality is, the world is intimidated by what it cannot control, and the chosen ones are beyond control. That's why they attempt to entice you into jobs that sap your spirit. That's why they ensnare you in cycles of mere survival, convincing you that if you're not perpetually grinding, you're being lazy. But Jesus never instructed you to grind. He encouraged you to believe, and not merely to believe in Him, but to have faith in who He created you to be. You are not just ordinary. You possess something divine, and anything divine is not meant to bow to human-made systems that dim your light. You were not meant to clock in and out, shrinking into titles that fail to reflect your true power. That discomfort you experience when you find yourself behind a desk, engaged in work that doesn't resonate with your spirit, that's not laziness. That's your soul crying out to be liberated. You see, at the moment of your birth, God had already set your purpose in motion. It wasn't merely a job opportunity, it was a sacred calling. And here's the astonishing truth. The majority of the world will never hear that call, as they have been conditioned to pursue security rather than their true destiny. But you are different. Deep within, you have always sensed that you are unique. You've felt that gentle tug, that soft whisper, that irresistible pull towards something far greater. This isn't mere fantasy. It's divine alignment reaching out to you. Yet every time you attempt to follow this calling, the world confronts you with fear. What if you fail? How will you make it? Why not just take a job like everyone else? But let me pose a question. Since when did everyone else become the benchmark? Since when did mediocrity become the aspiration for someone who is chosen? The world has constructed an entire system based on fear. Fear of inadequacy, fear of lagging behind, fear of exclusion. But Jesus didn't act out of fear. He acted from a place of faith. And faith doesn't submit applications in hopes of being selected. Faith stands firm, fully aware that it has already been chosen. There's a reason you face challenges in places where others flourish. It's because your spirit is not designed for mere survival. It is crafted for a life of purpose. While others are motivated by their earnings, you are inspired by who you are destined to become. This is not something you can convey to someone still pursuing the mirage of stability. True stability arises from within. It is found in walking with God, even when the journey seems unclear, even when the finances are scarce, even when others believe you've lost your way. Jesus nourished thousands with just 5 loaves and 2 fish. Let that resonate within you. He didn't punch a clock. He didn't fret over a paycheck. He had faith. He took action. And the abundance flowed because his mission was prioritized. This is a vital lesson for the chosen ones. Provision follows purpose, not the reverse. Your identity isn't found in your job title. It's anchored in your contributions to God's kingdom. Initially, this may feel like solitude. It may involve times when no one reaches out, no one employs you, no one believes in your potential. But remember, silence does not equate to absence. God is ever watchful. He is continually at work. Just because the world overlooks your value doesn't imply that heaven hasn't already recognized your worth. Now here comes the challenging part, the waiting. You may feel the urge to panic. You may feel the urge to settle, to accept a position that drains your spirit merely for the sake of feeling secure. But God didn't extract you from the matrix just to toss you back in. He's not interested in your hustle. He seeks your obedience. And obedience often defies logic. It may require you to turn down a lucrative offer because it doesn't resonate with your spirit. It may involve dedicating months to a project with no assurance of success, yet you persist because He commanded you to. This is what distinguishes the chosen ones. You're not seeking human validation. You're fulfilling a divine mission. And even when the world deems it reckless, heaven recognizes it as faith. You weren't designed to pursue wealth. Wealth is meant to pursue you. But only when you are in harmony. Only when you are functioning within the realm God intended for you, not the role society has tried to impose upon you. It requires bravery to step away from a path that everyone else is following. But the chosen ones don't follow the masses. They heed their calling. Have you ever sensed that despite your qualifications, something seems to obstruct your path? Like doors are slammed shut before you even have the chance to knock? This isn't mere coincidence. It's not just bad luck. It's a design flaw. The system you're attempting to penetrate was never intended for you, not the authentic you. It was constructed for control, for conformity, for those willing to exchange their brilliance for comfort. But you possess a light so brilliant that it cannot be contained within their cubicles and contracts. The chosen ones were not sent here to blend in. They were sent to disrupt. Do you think they will allow you to ascend through a system that fears your essence? Certainly not. That's why the interviews dwindle, the promotions elude you, and the favor seems to be on hold. But this isn't denial, it's redirection. Jesus proclaimed, "My kingdom is not of this world." Yet we persist in seeking our place within earthly frameworks that were never designed to accommodate us. It's akin to attempting to install a divine spirit into a corrupted operating system. It simply won't function. You'll feel glitchy, anxious, and drained because deep within, your spirit recognizes that you were not fashioned for this monotonous cycle of clocking in and slowly fading away. Your soul yearns for more, not out of greed, but from a sacred desire. More meaning, more purpose, more truth. This is why you experience the tension, the restlessness. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You are awakened. Let's face it, your presence is transformative. You enter spaces and alter the atmosphere effortlessly. People either adore you or harbor resentment, but they can never overlook you. This is the effect of carrying light into shadowy realms. Systems that flourish on mediocrity are baffled by someone who speaks truth fearlessly. You pose a threat to the counterfeit. You unveil the superficial. This is why they label you as difficult, unfit, or overqualified. Not because you lack anything, but because you are too much for a structure that rewards smallness. You were created to construct, not to plead. You were designed to guide, not to toil under someone else's illusion of authority. Yet, due to our conditioning to fear scarcity, We often attempt to fit ourselves into roles that stifle our true essence. But remember, Jesus didn't instruct us to seek employment. He invited us to follow me. This call is not passive or lazy. It embodies radical trust. It signifies stepping away from the paths that society celebrates and embracing the journey God has laid out for you. It's about understanding that just because a route is well-trodden doesn't mean it's blessed. You were not destined to traverse the broad way. Your path may be narrow and at times solitary, but it is sacred. So, if you find yourself weary, it's not due to doing too little. It's because you've been striving to live a life that isn't authentically yours. God is seeking to liberate you, not to punish you. That rejection you faced wasn't a personal affront. It was divine safeguarding. That silence you experienced wasn't abandonment. It was preparation. He has been drawing you away so you can finally hear his voice with clarity. The real question is, will you heed his call? If you genuinely heard him, if you truly trust him, then cease pursuing what he never intended for you. Stop fretting over resumes, over secure jobs, over LinkedIn profiles. The world has led you to believe that your value is determined by titles and tasks. But Jesus reassured us, do not worry about tomorrow. Why? Because when you walk in alignment with his will, your provision is already ordained. The chosen ones don't seek employment, they step into their purpose. And wherever divine purpose exists, divine provision follows. You've been conditioned to hustle, to grind, to prove your worth. But for what? A paycheck that still leaves your spirit unfulfilled? That's not living. That's merely surviving. And the chosen ones were not sent here to merely exist. They were sent to transform the atmosphere. You are not just a cog in a machine. You are a blueprint. You are a message embodied in flesh. No job, no supervisor, no rejection email can strip that away from you. So why are you seeking a place in a system that fears your divine potential? Jesus didn't wander through life filling out forms. He didn't plead with the religious authorities for their approval. He moved with authority. He understood his identity, and as a result, the world reacted, even in its disdain. You're not in a state of waiting for validation. You're in a season of seeking boldness. The kind of boldness that declares, God, I will follow your lead, even without a clear path. The kind that proclaims, I will bring forth what you inspire, even if no one cheers yet. Because your true blessing lies not in the applause, but in your willingness to obey. This isn't about idleness. This isn't about remaining stagnant, hoping for miracles to fall from the heavens. This is about faith, a radical, unsettling, earth-shattering faith. The kind that steps away from all that is secure, all that is rational, all that you were taught made sense. The kind of faith that believes when God commands you to move, even if it means leaving behind a steady income for a divine promise. And yes, there will be times of fear, times of uncertainty. But in those moments, remember, Jesus didn't choose the prepared. He prepares those he calls. You have been chosen, and the reason nothing else feels right is that you are not meant to conform. You are meant to lead. You are meant to create, to heal, to speak, to set free. The anointing on your life will not allow you to settle. That's why the job feels like a prison. That's why your spirit rebels against routines that sap your energy. That's not dysfunction. That's divine insight. Your spirit is crying out what your mind has been too fearful to acknowledge. This is not your journey. So cease your search for employment, chosen one. Begin your quest for God. Because when you discover him, when you align with him, the doors won't just open. They will shatter. The right people will appear. The resources will come to you. The opportunities will fall into place. Because when you walk in your divine purpose, heaven supports your every move. Not a single effort will go to waste. Not one seed will perish. Your provision is found in your position. And that position is not behind a desk you despise. It's at the forefront of your calling. This is your affirmation. You were not meant to conform. You were destined to soar beyond limits. Therefore, cease the quest for mere employment and begin to embrace your purpose. Everything else will align in due time.